The stench of rotting flesh overwhelmed even seasoned courtiers, some vomiting in the royal presence. Dogs licked fluids leaking from King Henry VIII's coffin. In the next few minutes, you'll uncover shocking medical evidence revealing how England's mighty king became a 400-pound grotesque. Newly analyzed court physician records and forensic examinations of his remains expose a truth Tudor historians hid for centuries. This is the story of how a jousting accident transformed a golden prince into a paranoid, decaying tyrant. January 24, 1536. Greenwich Palace. Henry VIII, 44, and still fit, charges down the tiltyard on his warhorse, clad in armor worth a laborer's lifetime earnings. The crowd holds its breath as he aims his lance. Hooves, thunder, armor glints, but disaster strikes. The horses collide with car crash force. Henry, 300 pounds of man and metal, crashes to the frozen ground. His massive warhorse, also armored, collapses on top of him. The tiltyard falls silent. Is the king dead? For 2 hours, Henry lies unconscious. England has no monarch. Anne Boleyn, pregnant and desperate for a male heir, waits in agony. When Henry wakes, his eyes once bright with charm, hold a darker, unpredictable glint. He rages, demanding why the tournament stopped. The Renaissance prince, fluent in 4 languages, a poet and musician, never fully returns. In his place emerges a tyrant whose violent mood swings terrorize England for 11 years. Modern neuroscientists analyzing historical records believe Henry suffered a frontal lobe injury, disrupting personality and impulse control. Before 1536, he showed restraint. Married to Catherine of Aragon for over 20 years, executing few nobles. After the accident, his behavior shifts. Anne Boleyn loses her head 4 months later. Thomas Cromwell, his trusted advisor, follows. Henry's rages become legendary. Servants report him weeping uncontrollably, then screaming for blood. The accident also reopened an old leg wound from a prior joust. In Tudor England, without antibiotics, open wounds were death sentences. Slow ones. Imagine tennis ball-sized ulcers on both legs, oozing pus for 11 years. The pain was so intense that silk sheets made Henry scream. Dr. Thomas Vickery's secret notes, discovered in the 1960s, describe ulcers of a grievous nature, stinking and painful beyond measure. Servants drained the wounds daily, filling bronze bowls with infected fluid. Henry, vain and paranoid, tried to hide his decay. He wore lead-weighted garters to compress the wounds, worsening the infection by cutting circulation. He doused himself in rose oil and ambergris to mask the stench. His portrait painters depicted him with athletic legs, a lie immortalized in his famous power stance. But the infection wasn't just destroying his legs, it poisoned his bloodstream. Modern analysis suggests chronic osteomyelitis, a bone infection flooding his body with toxins, causing excruciating pain, fevers, and wild mood swings. Toxins crossed into Henry's brain, triggering paranoia and delusions. He saw enemies everywhere, suspecting servants of poisoning his food and wives of adultery. By 1540, he'd executed Anne Boleyn, annulled his marriage to Anne of Cleves, and pursued 17-year-old Catherine Howard. At 50, obese and barely mobile, Henry needed servants to lift him onto horses, his advances repulsing the young Catherine. By 1542, the ulcers turned septic. Dr. Vickery noted the pus shifting from yellow-white to green, then brown, with a stench of death. Unable to exercise due to pain, Henry's weight ballooned from 282 over 350 pounds. His 1540 armor shows a 48-inch waist. By 1545, it was 54 inches, wider than a modern refrigerator. Hampton Court's doorways were widened, floors reinforced, and special chairs built to accommodate his bulk. Henry's daily routine became a performance to hide his deterioration. First, servants dressed him in bed, using pulleys to lift him into a wheeled chair, concealed from public view. By 1544, his mental state worsened. Courtiers reported him arguing with his dead father, Henry VII, or calling for his mother, dead since he was 11. He screamed at Anne Boleyn's ghost, ordering her to stop laughing. Paranoia consumed him. He sniffed pus-soaked bandages for poison and forced servants to test his ointments. By Christmas 1546, Henry was unrecognizable. His swollen face, yellowed eyes, and rotting breath horrified courtiers, who held pomanders to mask the stench. His final portrait, the Whitehall masterpiece, hid a macabre secret. X-rays in 1960 revealed Henry originally held a staff topped with a human skull, a death-obsessed tick painted over by his son, Edward VI. In January 1547, Henry's ulcers exposed bone, and gangrene set in. His skin turned yellow from liver failure, his tongue so swollen he could barely speak. 6 men turned him in bed to prevent bed sores, but his massive weight made care impossible. On January 20th, multiple organ failure began. His kidneys shut down, his abdomen swelled, and he alternated between lucid terror and delirium, begging for his mother and Catherine of Aragon's forgiveness. On January 27th, a massive stroke paralyzed Henry's right side. His speech became incomprehensible. Archbishop Cranmer's private diary, discovered in 1983, describes violent seizures, cracking the bed frame. Henry vomited black bile, cried for his dead children, and screamed about invisible flames. At 2:07 a.m. on January 28, 1547, after a weak hand squeeze signaling faith, Henry VIII died. His corpse decomposed rapidly. Within hours, gases bloated the body, and the stench overwhelmed servants. The Privy Council hid his death for 3 days, struggling to manage the decaying mass. Embalmers found a diseased liver, swollen heart, and black intestines. They packed the body with 100 pounds of salt and herbs, sealing it in a reinforced lead coffin. But during the procession to Windsor Castle, the coffin split open at Sion Abbey. Putrid fluids leaked, and dogs licked the remains, a final indignity for God's anointed king. Edward Seymour ordered silence on pain of death. The official record claimed Henry died peacefully. Only private diaries and foreign reports revealed the truth centuries later. Henry VIII, who reshaped England, died screaming, his 400-pound body rotting, his coffin bursting. For more hidden Tudor truths, like and subscribe. Next, we'll expose the French spy connection behind Anne Boleyn's execution.